All right, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Peaking Podcast. Really excited. We have Sneha Kumari here. She is co-founder of Merlin AI. Welcome to the show. Tell us about yourselves.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show, and I'm excited to be here. Absolutely would love to share more about myself, my background, and we can, of course, dive deep into all kinds of topics you would like. My name is Sneha Kumari, and I am logging in from Southern California, Orange County here.
Awesome.
I do have a base in the Bay Area as well, so I travel a lot. Um, Let's start from the beginning. So I am an engineer by trade, so an electronics engineer. Started my career with some big names out there doing industrial automation, home automation, but
Mm-hmm.
mostly supply chain. So supply chain became a part of my life pretty early on, where I didn't even know what was supply chain. Remember that whole COVID burst that happened where everyone was talking about supply chain and
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
knew what supply chain was? I
Yeah.
have known been in supply chain probably before that was even a term or people got it. Probably even I didn't get it, right? Did R&D for some time, and then that's how I got exposed to the entire life cycle and pretty much opened my eyes that supply chain is a integral part of every single thing. So you,
Yeah.
Brian, are sitting in a room and look around, and every single commodity around you has a supply chain behind it, if you think
Yeah.
about it, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a
Fascinating.
whole life cycle that went through to make that happen. And so it's amazing. It's daunting. It's stressful, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's never boring. So that's something that I learned pretty early on and wanted to do my master's, dive a little deeper, came to the US, got Pitt grad here, and again worked for some big names out there, did some more manufacturing, dove into construction. And so while I
Mm-hmm.
was doing all of this, I'm a lean Six Sigma leader, so I have a knack for looking at things from an efficiency lens, from a productivity lens, just naturally.
Yeah.
And when I moved, ways on the construction side was where I realized, well, manufacturing is bad. The efficiency on our side of the industry in construction is worse,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then talking about technology, it was, as I said, worse. There's a lot of software fatigue in the industry
Mm-hmm.
that needed to be addressed. And
Is that
um,
specific to construction or supply chain?
I, at the time, was looking it from the construction lens, right? And
Okay.
supply chain is a part of construction, although many
Yeah.
people don't get what is supply chain in construction, right?
Right.
Supply chain is a very commonly used term in manufacturing. It isn't in construction, and it's a shame that it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't get it, but it is an integral part, and more so for modular construction.
Mm-hmm.
It's even more important for modular construction. Um,
What is
so yeah, I mean
modular
that's
construction?
think about building a home, a pod, a kitchen pod, a bath pod, or whatever, like,
Yep.
but doing all of this in a factory setting.
Got
That's
it.
what modular construction is. So
Yeah.
you've known about construction on site, right? You go on site, you have a land, you have a developer, you have GCs, and they go build it, right? Think about building a home inside a factory setting and how amazing it would be. I don't think people realize that from a repeatability, from
Yep.
a quality, from an efficiency standpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
You actually have your home built in a very quality controlled setting. It's fast and it has the ability to be cheaper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the difference between what you see on site. And there are many types of modular. I just gave you a very, I don't know, very high level understanding. There
Sure.
are many different types of how you can go modular. What are the different techniques and technology, construction technology, per se, that you can employ and design what kind of product you're building. But
Mm-hmm.
it has potential to just, disrupt the way we think about building today.
Yeah.
Imagine how green we could get in ways that we can make this happen from material standpoint, from a process standpoint, from waste standpoint, right? That's also another angle that you can look
Hmm.
at. Imagine the waste that we incur when you are looking at site production, site home building, right? So those
Hmm.
are some benefits that you can look at. But anyways, coming back to my journey, so I'm just trying to get to how I came up with the inception of Merlin, which is,
Yep.
I was
Perfect.
using a lot of enterprise softwares, and it wasn't really working out of the box, a lot of
Hmm.
what I was trying to do. And that made me decide to, like, hey, why don't we stop and try to build something that's construction first, and that's AI first. AI just happened to be coming up
Hmm.
big and a known term for a lot of people, like the masses. Just the coincidence was pretty nicely, transitioned there. But AI has really existed for a long time, so it's not something that's super new. It's just
Right.
it's just much more accessible now. So
Yeah.
anyway, so coming back, so that really led to us building Merlin. And what we are at Merlin, we are an AI powered enterprise software for construction, a first of
Hmm.
its kind, an AI native, which means you you can have softwares today that's going to bolt on AI to it, but we are building AI first, which means our whole architecture is all around AI, which makes it more intelligent, which makes it faster and more efficient.
Yeah.
When I say enterprise, we do everything. We cover everything from CRM to project management to materials, procurement, purchasing, inventory management, site operations, factory floor, financials, all packed in one. So imagine, and
It's quite a lot.
estimating and takeoffs, by the way, all a lot. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
7 different products baked into one ecosystem. Also, you could know what's happening with your project firsthand. I mean, if you
Hmm.
think about it, a construction project is always a financial project at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
what you want to know is, hey, am I making money? Am I going wrong somewhere? Do I have overages? And if I do, I better take actions to
Yeah.
recoup it firsthand. So that was the whole motive of where we started, and
Hmm.
how far we have come. But
Yeah.
yes, in a nutshell, this is how all of this came about.
Well, to take a step back, so was there an aha moment, or was this a multiple moments over time leading up, from going way back when to leveraging these different ERP systems, all these different tools and frustrations building that led to, okay, hey, there is this moment that Merlin AI came to fruition, or you said, I'm going to go do this. What did that journey look like?
Yeah, and so it it was a lot of frustration built over time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've used legacy softwares and I've used modern ones too. One thing that was quite common was every single enterprise software
Mm-hmm.
needed quite a bit of heavy lifting to be able to make it usable for my industry, right? And think about it, a lot of
Yeah.
these enterprise softwares weren't even born in our industry in construction. So what
Right.
makes it harder is it's like, imagine, like, if I'm an enterprise software, I was born in retail, I am pretty nicely done for retail, and now I'm trying to venture into construction. I have no idea about this. And so a lot of
Totally.
changes, tweaks, and hard lift into making it work for me,
Yeah.
for my day. And so what happens is, in that process, you don't only lose time, you lose money too. And you
Mm-hmm.
probably are dealing with people who don't understand your industry very well. I wanted to build something that I wish I had when I was running my projects. And
Yeah.
so that's exactly what we have built. And a bunch of I mean, I wouldn't say aha moments, a lot of pain points that was pretty clear right in front of me, very visible, just needed to be solved,
Yeah.
needed to be looked at from the construction lens. So it's pretty much building something for construction by folks who understand construction, which
Yeah.
is a different thing when you come from a different industry and try to build something for a different industry altogether.
Yeah. Totally. Now, were you still working in supply chain when you decided to make this shift to I'm going to go build a enterprise software application? Were you at AWS at the time, or where were you in your
We
journey?
were we were actually I have been tweaking about around this idea for too long, right?
Okay.
It didn't just
Yeah.
happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. Nothing happens overnight. Nothing definitely big happens overnight, at least from
Right.
what I know, right? So, been to tweaking, have friends in the industry, been tossing around the idea. Um, you know, Kaz, who's my co-founder, been had some prototypes built. We started piloting it with some small users, and all of that was happening while I was also trying to do the supply chain stuff on the side for some of the companies as well. Now, what that does for me is just understanding, like, that whole supply chain piece is kind of my area. Like, I feel super confident about it. I've done it for so long. I get it, right? It was just making sure that I educated more people
Hmm.
about it and about the importance of it. But tech was happening because the disruption could only happen when the tech that I was building really was in existence. And you cannot really build an amazing, awesome product in silo. When you
Hmm.
have customers using it, that's where you mature, your product matures, your understanding matures, right? And so that journey in itself helped us, and we had to do that for a few years. I mean, few months definitely before we launched fully.
Yeah. Where did you meet your co-founder?
He's actually my brother, so I met him since he was born.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's
but
fantastic.
but he is a second time founder. He has always been with startup. He actually was the first engineer at a unicorn startup in India, which is a DoorDash equivalent in India.
Hmm.
And so they just did an IPO a few months back. So he's very happy about that. And then he went on to found his own company, which was a fintech company, and he built and sold that. And he was coming out of
Hmm.
that acquisition, and then I was at the brink of my frustration. And then we were like, okay, why don't we try something together?
Hmm.
It wouldn't hurt, and that's how this started.
Yeah. So what's been the biggest change for you? I mean, you're not shifting out of supply chain, but you're shifting out of working for corporate and then going into building this AI native construction application. That's amazing. What has that shift been like for you?
I think I always knew I had to do something of my own, right? So that was there, right? It maybe was buried and probably was looking for its own calling, and that
Hmm.
calling came definitely when YC happened.
Yeah.
So, but just doing something of my own was, I would say, a wish or idea, or something that I was always fascinated about, and just always trying to look at something from its own lens. But you also, everything has to be aligning in the universe for you to do something. So I think that happened much later after I got into construction and understood that. So um yeah, I mean, I do I do think that it came at the right time, on when we took that. And now that I have took that step, I life is totally it has just 180-degree changed.
Hmm.
It's not the same, right? Now
Yeah.
the risk is high. It's very rewarding and fulfilling, I have to say that. um but you there's a certain risk that you are traveling now with. It's a journey, you're learning, and I think it teaches you to be humble, at least me. A lot of humility,
Hmm.
heads down, being nimble, tenacious, persevere. A lot of
Hmm.
these amazing life skills just come naturally to you when you're an entrepreneur. So yes, a
Yeah.
lot has changed, but I think it only humbles me,
Yeah.
and
What?
probably also got me my raise for sure. Yes.
Yeah. What would you say so far has been the most rewarding piece of making this transition?
I think seeing my customers, I mean, by far the most rewarding part is seeing my customers using it,
Hmm.
and Their aha moments, their compliments are my biggest wins. They
Mm-hmm.
are my brand. If you think about us, we haven't invested huge in marketing. We plan to, but we haven't. And so when I am at that stage, my customers are my brands. They
Mm-hmm.
sell me. And if I'm not doing a good job with them, then which I'm sure it's not that I am perfect in many ways, right? I am figuring pieces out for myself as I am growing this company, this baby of ours, right? So it's a
Mm-hmm.
journey. But I think the biggest satisfaction or fulfillment comes when you see that happening real time. And the
Mm-hmm.
good part is I'm interacting with people here, right? It's always about people, people on the ground, boots on ground, trying to build homes, trying to, serve a purpose. And when you
Mm-hmm.
make a small change that would make their life easy,
Mm-hmm.
that's very fulfilling. It's different than I feel that it would have been a different kind of fulfillment if I had built a gaming app. That's a
Mm-hmm.
B2C.
Yeah.
But when I'm working and trying to improve life of a legacy industry, which is often unsexy, which is not something uncool, which is not something that people um, fancy about, I guess, right? It's a different feeling altogether. I think you would have seen a lot of amazing advancements on the tech side of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time that we look at industries like manufacturing and construction because they are boots on ground making real life changes in the world around us and often ignored by the tech industry.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Very cool. You mentioned YC going through Y Combinator. How did that happen? Tell us a little bit about what that story is.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, we have so YC application was so I'll tell you this. My co-founder, which is KS, was a fanboy of YC for I don't know, I cannot say by birth, but for too long. Um, so I am I
Okay.
got introduced to YC through him, and much before this whole startup happened and all of that. And then I was like, I read a lot about it, and he has been a Sam Altman fan like for the longest time. When Sam has been on his journey for the longest time, if you have read a lot about his blogs and stuff. And so I used to read about him, his blogs, his journey through KS for a long time. And then a time came when okay, and this idea came, we were like, sure, like why don't we give this a try? And you won't believe, like we literally wrote um, the application pretty few days before the whole deadline was happening. And it's intense, by the way, right? It consumes you. It forces you the kind of questions, and you also have to do a video recording. It kind of consumes you. So you have to you're forced to kind of think about the right questions that you probably weren't even thinking when you were envisioning your project,
Yeah.
your product. It forces you to distill your vision, right? And put it in the most simplest, most compelling form. It is hard, uh, harder than what it would sound right now for you. And so truly we went into being super honest with ourselves about what exactly was our motivation, what exactly was the problem we're solving for. And then of course the whole prep happened. It was intense. We had an interview and went through the normal process and everything. But what you would love about YC is that decision making, their fast decision making. Um but it forced us at the end of the day to think about ourselves, like take ourselves seriously as founders and our company. And
Hmm.
regardless of what the outcome was, I think that's an exercise every founder should go through. A reality check, like just ground yourselves,
Yeah.
get some questions answered for yourself. I think often in this entrepreneurial journey we forget doing that exercise for our own self. And that whole application process forced us to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the biggest lessons learned?
Many, right? But they say, right, the biggest one, and I keep saying this, I'll keep repeating this. I mean, YC's first thing is build something people want, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a mantra, and you have to internalize that, and you have to keep, that should be something that your focus shouldn't shift from that. Um, and and the whole YC session was again drinking from a fire hose in the
Mm-hmm.
best way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of lessons. It's about how why it's important to be close to your customers, why it's important to fail fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, fail fast is a big thing that I learned from my journey at Amazon as well.
Mm-hmm.
um, Not be afraid of pivoting, of changing direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest part is being surrounded by these amazing, amazing, sharp, ambitious, uh, insanely intelligent people that just does something to your energy, right? When you're
Yeah.
constantly in company of these amazing people, amazing founders, the partners we work with, we got to meet Sam and Brian and all these like big guys, like all celebrities, founders there. And when they come to your room, they are like, just like you and me, right? There's no
Mm-hmm.
air about them being, the Sam Altmans and the Brian Chesky's of the world. It's like, wow, like they are normal people. You get to talk to them and you just are in awe of, the humility of everything that they have achieved and how sharp they are. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's a huge takeaway. It grounds you in many ways.
Yeah. Very cool. Have there been any moments of pivot or um, failing fast that you can share?
We had that journey. We lived that journey very early on, like even before we became Merlin. We
Yeah.
failed. We failed a lot with many with customers, with
Mm-hmm.
our pilots.
Yeah.
Um, Forced ourselves to understand what is it that we are making. And I have to say that in many ways, YC pushed us to also internalize that for ourselves and define that vision for ourselves. Um, and probably put that one liner, like what
Mm-hmm.
are we building, like who are we building this for, and what's in it for them, and what's in it for us, what is driving us to do this. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, we have had our set of failures and pivots before we became who we are today. And I'm
Yeah.
sure we're constantly evolving. It's not that we have a baked in super perfect mature product, and ideally no one should, because then you're not
Right.
growing, right? I
Right.
mean, every thing today in the day and era that we live in AI, every 2 weeks things change, every month things are changing, new models
Mm-hmm.
are releasing, we are constantly experimenting, but experimenting and changing for good
Yeah.
and evolving for more automation, for making people's life better, getting more done with less. That's our motto. That's what we are doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about AI adoption in a kind of a legacy industry, like you were saying? Is there a real appetite for it? Who are some of your customers, and how are the feelings when you come in with Merlin?
So it is a legacy industry, but believe me, like there are thousands of softwares thrown at this industry, so they are not
Yeah.
averse to software. They're using something, right?
Yeah.
Whether it comes to designing, to estimating, to CRM, to operations, to materials, they're using something.
Hmm.
So it's not that they don't know how to use a software. ERPs in general is sticky. Doesn't matter the industry. Like even in manufacturing, it's hard to
Yeah.
switch an ERP, an enterprise software, right? And so
Yeah.
we work on a different model a little bit in terms of like giving our customers flexibility to start small and then go big, see the value. We believe that we have the ability to show them the value and then upsell from there. Um, it's not easy, but from a user persona standpoint, I wouldn't say that my industry is software illiterate. They get it.
Yeah.
They know how to use software. Yes, there are certain business functions where people are still resorting to a piece of paper. But I also like some of the blame has to come to the tech team as well. Like you cannot just blame the industry for this shift.
Sure.
If
Yeah.
like when Apple was disrupting the whole Nokia, I keep repeating this story because I hope people resonate with it. When we disrupted a touch screen, and by the way, touch screen was existent on laptops much longer than iPhone came out. Right.
Hmm.
But when that thing came in, like no one from Apple went to every single customer to teach them how to use a phone.
Hmm.
It just came naturally to us,
Hmm.
right? And maybe there we stumbled a little bit, but we knew how to use it.
Hmm.
Um, and I think a lot of that attention hasn't been paid to enterprise software. Why
Yeah.
isn't it as easy to use where the lift of implementation goes down? And I'm not saying that I have figured it out. I
Hmm.
haven't, but I will. And the greatest part of it is AI is here to help you that with that,
Yeah. Very cool.
to reduce some of this disruption, some friction that we are seeing. So I honestly feel that we cannot put the burden of change management on the industry. We have a responsibility as tech builders also. When we say we are low code, no code, we truly should be that. We have been saying this term for too long and really not implemented it in true essence. Very
Mhm.
few companies are really nailing down their implementation. Forget about doing it for the legacy industry. So you cannot put the blame and responsibility entirely on the industry. It has to be a shared responsibility. And I think that's where we come in and we want to change that.
Mhm. Mhm. So what does the roadmap look like for Merlin? What are the next what's this next year look like for you?
Um, I probably missed the last part that you said, but roadmap, and you might want to repeat that for me, but roadmap, lots of exciting stuff coming our way,
Hmm.
more agentic flows. And so when I say agentic flows, assisted workflows coming your
Hmm.
way, where imagine, like I keep telling my customers to imagine giving each business function that you have that you run within your business an assistant and, running your processes on steroids. If
Hmm.
I am able to automate a good chunk of your redundant workflows, you can focus on your time on strategic decision making,
Hmm.
right? Like as a procurement officer, if I take up all your burden of placing a purchase order, keeping up with reorder points, what's the forecast and all of that, then you can pick up the phone and only focus on negotiating awesome contracts so your bottom line improves with every single step that you take. So that's the goal.
Yeah.
Doing more with less is what our motto is. There's some exciting stuff on our roadmaps, which we will be sharing through our webinars shortly. So, without stealing the team's thunder,
Sure.
there are some very cool UI enhancements, improvements, and agentic flows coming your way. And a good chunk of some of these business functions will see automation coming their way.
Very cool. So you're a part of Women in Construction. Is there anything you want to say on that? Shout out to women out there listening, or the industry itself, and a message to the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So proud to be a woman and actually woman of color in this industry, right?
Yeah.
Legacy industries are pretty nuanced in terms of being diverse or not. I think that landscape is changing and I feel strongly about it. But we also need more women, empowering more women. We need to be more self assured. And so, if I had one message for all my fellow women leaders in construction, I have to say that we have to be more self-assured. And if people take that for arrogance, so be it. We have so much potential, and a lot of amazing leaders, like even male leaders in construction, recognize that. We have women working on site. There's so much knowledge. It's just a matter of finding and picking them up and making sure that we bring them to limelight too, and be able to talk to them and talk about them, their journeys. I think there's more to be done in terms of workplace safety, There's so much to talk about, Brian. I think I'll need a separate podcast just talking about women and
Fair enough.
how we
Fair
can
enough.
have an equal an inclusive workplace for women as well, and
Yeah.
how we can make construction that place all the more. When I started this journey, it was lonely, and I still remember sharing this with the founders of Women in Construction Tech, right? That hey, Antonia, I remember still talking to her and telling her that this journey was lonely, and I'm just glad I found you, and thank you for having this
Hmm.
community. Because sometimes just having that community and knowing that I can be vulnerable there is in itself a big strength, a big a help, support. So if through this podcast, if there are women out listening, know that you can always reach out to me, text me, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I may not get back to you immediately, but I promise I will. I'm here to help. If I can make a small change in anyone's life through any platform today, I would love to be able to be in that situation and be able to make that difference. Message, I would say, message for if it's just for women, as I said, like, be self-assured, know that you're doing great and you're doing a lot, and you need to probably toot your own horn and not wait for others to do it. I have to say that. And if there is a message in terms of the industry, I think our industry has been very patient, kind to all the amazing and not so amazing tech thrown out to them. And I am just going to ask them to be patient with AI as it's growing, and be embracive as they have been embracing other softwares in the past.
Hmm.
And this one is going to be game changer. Listen to me. I come from your world. I believe you. I love this industry. And so be ready for the change. Embrace it, and it's only coming for good.
Fantastic. Well, where can people find you?
On LinkedIn, on not so much on Instagram, but LinkedIn is the best way. And of course, email me on my company email ID. It's actually available on my website. Check us out. Ask any questions. Reach out. It's always good connecting, networking, even if it wasn't something always related to business. Sometimes just meeting people makes me happy.
Yeah. And what's Merlin's website?
merlinai.co. So feel free to check us out, drop us. You can actually fill a form and leave us a contact. We'll always get in touch and, hop on a call with you and chat with you either through phone or Zoom or Google Meet or whatever that is.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. And I know there's going to be a lot of value added to a lot of people out there. So thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me. This was, all raw, coming from heart, and enjoyed recording this with you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Till next time. All right.